Can science explain everything? Of course not, and we shouldn't expect it to. Life is richer with a few mysteries left unsolved, and some of the most intriguing ones lie in the ancient artifacts our ancestors left behind. These relics have guarded their secrets for centuries, even millennia, as you'll soon discover. At first glance, the King Goody hammer, also known as the King Goody artifact, appears to be nothing more interesting than a piece of steel embedded in a rock. The tale takes a twist, though, when you find out that the metal is actually a thick iron nail of a kind that could only have been designed by human hands, and that the rock it's embedded in comes from the Cretaceous era. That gives both the rock and the nail an age of roughly 360 million years. Named after the Scottish quarry, it was discovered back in 1844. The artifact was presented to the British Association for the Advancement of Science by the scientist Sir David Brewster. He had already examined it personally and could find no explanation for it, nor any evidence of forgery. What the British Association for the Advancement of Science made of it is unknown, but there's no further record of it after Sir David handed it over to them for their appraisal. Did they think so little of it that they threw it away? Or is it being held somewhere under lock and key because scientists are still trying to work out how it could possibly exist? Is the Derveni Papyrus the most ancient book in Europe? That's a question that historians can't agree on the answer to. It was found close to Thessalonica in Greece in 1962, but was so badly charred that it took until 2006 to decode the text. It didn't help matters much that it was in more than 200 pieces when it was found. Most scientists agree that the document is between 2,300 and 2,500 years old. Nobody knows who wrote it, but contenders include Diagoras of Melos and Euthyphron of Prospalta. Most of the writing concerns religious instructions on how to go about performing sacrifices to specific gods, although there's also a poem ascribed to Orpheus. However, there are also scientific observations in some of the columns. Leading researcher Richard Yanko believes that the text was written during a time of disagreement between the competing fields of science and religion, and might even have been an attempt to unify scientists and theologians under the same banner. Diagoras of Melos was sentenced to death for impiety. If he had written the Derveni Papyrus, it might have been one of the reasons why he was executed. A recently unveiled map in Beijing has sparked a renewed debate over who discovered the New World first. China has joined the ongoing dispute, with claims that Chinese Admiral Zheng he reached the Americas in 1421, predating Christopher Columbus. The theory gained popularity through Gavin Menzies' controversial book, 1421, The Year China Discovered America. Chinese lawyer Liu Gang purchased a map dated 1418 displaying the outlines of North and South America, which could support Menzies' theory, if genuine. However, many historians quickly dismissed the map as a forgery. Menzies, on the other hand, supports Liu's map, stating that it combines existing information from other Chinese maps of the same period. Supporters of Menzies' theory also point to a Portuguese map from 1419 with similar mistakes, suggesting they were copied from Chinese sources. Despite these claims, critics argue that Menzies lacks academic support. The controversy adds to the collection of pre-Columbian claims, including the purported landing by Scottish Earl Sir Henry Sinclair in 1397. Nevertheless, skeptics assert that rewriting history is unnecessary and caution against deceptive narratives. Ultimately, even if the Chinese got to North America in 1421, that is still long after the Vikings landed in Newfoundland. There are three names for our next artifact. It's most commonly known as the Merneptah stele, but it's also known as the Israel stele and the Victory stele of Merneptah. The Merneptah part of the name comes from the fact that it bears an inscription recording a military victory over the Libyans by the armies of the Egyptian pharaoh Merneptah, who ruled Egypt 3,200 years ago. It's the connection to Israel that might be more historically significant, though. Some scholars have interpreted a line of hieroglyphs in the 27th line of the inscription as the word Israel. If they're right, this is the oldest written reference to the name in history. It would also be the only written reference to Israel to come from ancient Egypt. There's some controversy about the finding, though, because it's possible to interpret the symbols in different ways. This is a debate that's been ongoing since the day the stele was discovered by Flinders Petrie in 1896, and it's not likely to end anytime soon. This is the problem with translating ancient languages. Even when you can translate the words, you can't always understand their meaning. The Aztec Sunstone, also known as the Stone of the Five Eras or the Calendar Stone, is a remarkable artifact from ancient Mesoamerica. Carved from basalt, this massive stone disc measures over 11 feet in diameter and weighs around 24 tons. It is adorned with intricate and highly symbolic carvings that reflect the Aztec understanding of time, cosmology, and the divinity of the sun. The central image on the stone is the face of the sun god Tonatiuh, surrounded by elaborate concentric rings representing different cosmic elements and celestial bodies. The stone also features intricate calendrical glyphs and representations of the 4 previous suns, or eras, that the Aztecs believed had come before their present one. As a masterpiece of Aztec artistry and astronomical knowledge, the sunstone offers a glimpse into the rich cultural and religious beliefs of the Aztec civilization. Today, it stands as an iconic symbol of ancient Mexico and serves as a reminder of the advanced civilizations that thrived in Mesoamerica long before the arrival of Europeans, not to mention the fact that it's a testament to the artistic skill of the Aztecs. If you've studied religion, you'll already know that when Muslims perform their daily prayers, they do so in the direction of Mecca. That's led to the common misconception that Muslims pray toward Mecca. They don't. They pray toward the Kaaba building in Mecca, also known as the House of Allah. Of all the legends and tales that surround the Kaaba, those that pertain to the black stone in the easternmost corner are the most mystical. According to the Islamic faith, the stone is black because when Adam entered heaven, the stone soaked up all of his earthly sins to make him pure. It's perhaps more likely that it has turned black because it's been kissed and touched by millions of Muslims during a pilgrimage, who do so because they believe that the Prophet Muhammad once kissed it. The truth behind the myths could be obtained by removing all or part of the stone to study it in a laboratory, but that is out of the question. Like so much about this 4,000-year-old building, the truth will probably never be known. When archaeologists open ancient tombs in Egypt, it's reasonably common for them to find tiny sculptures known as shabti. Hundreds of them have been found, but having so many artifacts to study hasn't helped archaeologists identify their purpose. They're most commonly said to be symbolic servants of the dead, but that isn't proven. It's a theory that stems from the fact that, based on timelines, shabti started appearing in the tombs of the Egyptian aristocracy at about the same time as sacrificed human servants stopped appearing in them. Later examples of the artifacts come with inscriptions that have been interpreted as curses or spells, but the older ones are plain. Some shabti are depicted as carrying tiny tools like hoes, whereas others carry baskets. The etymology of their name isn't understood, with some thinking it comes from shah, as in to command, and others thinking it comes from sub, which means stick. There might be nothing to them beyond the fact that someone thought they were a nice thing to put inside someone's tomb, and the idea caught on. But almost everything in an Egyptian tomb symbolizes something. Jerusalem is forever being picked over by archaeologists and historians seeking to prove the truth of the Bible and the Old Testament, and some of them believed they'd made a breakthrough in January 2018 when a tiny seal was found close to the city's western wall. The 2,700-year-old clay artifact bears a Hebrew inscription that identifies it as the property of the governor of Jerusalem, seeming to prove that such a post existed during the First Temple period. While the Bible claims that Jerusalem had governors thousands of years ago, with references made to a governor called Joshua during the time of King Hezekiah and another called Maaseiah during the reign of Josiah, no physical evidence to support the idea had ever been found before. On the face of the seal is a depiction of 2 men standing face to face with each other, both wearing striped knee-length robes or tunics. It's thought that it served as a logo of sorts for the governor of the time and was carried by messengers to demonstrate the authenticity of official communications. Having finally found one such seal, the hunt is now on to find more. During restoration work at Durham Cathedral in England in 2013, workers came across a strange and somewhat unsettling note left beneath flagstones almost exactly 1 century earlier. This is another tale about a mysterious bottle, as the note was inside a glass bottle when it was discovered. If we take it at face value, it lists the names of 3 gravediggers along with a message. This grave was opened on Sunday, May 11, 1913. The gravediggers left no further clues, so we have no idea which grave they were referring to or why they felt the need to record the information and then seal it in a bottle under a flagstone. We can't even rule out the idea that the gravediggers planted the bottle as a prank while laughing at the idea that someone would find the note in the future and wonder what it was doing there, just as we are now. The handwritten message was scribbled on the back of an advert for the Globe Theatre in London, which is hundreds of miles away from Durham Cathedral. The grave diggers are named as Mr. W. Rabble, Mr. W. Carter, and Mr. G. Yeoman, each of whom added a stonemason mark to the end of their names. Some people speculate that the message might be written in code, but there doesn't seem to be enough ambiguity in it for that to be true. The Malia altar stone is a fascinating archaeological artifact for many reasons. It's the only known example of Cretan hieroglyphs being carved onto stone, for example. However, its true value lies in the fact that the symbols etched onto its surface are almost identical to the symbols carved on the legendary Phaistos disc. The artifact was found close to Malia and Crete by a farmer during the 1990s. It was probably created by the ancient Minoans and is similar in design to the altar stones known to have been made by their civilization, but is the only one bearing hieroglyphic markings to have been discovered thus far. By cross-referencing the glyphs that appear here with those on the Phaistos disc, it's possible to interpret the text as, if you care for force and quantity, correct your path to the goddess mean. That's clearly an imperfect translation of the original text, but it gets us a step closer to working out what the Phaistos disc might have been made for, even if we understand almost nothing about the goddess mean and what she stood for. If you're interested in archaeology, you'll probably have heard of the supposed curse of Tutankhamun. Many of the members of Howard Carter's expedition to the young pharaoh's tomb were struck down by ailments or misfortune after opening the tomb in 1922, including Carter himself. The existence of the alleged curse didn't put modern-day archaeologists off the idea of opening the tomb's one remaining mystery in 2019. It's a beautiful 3,500-year-old chest thought to have belonged to Tutankhamun's wife, Ankhesenamun, who was also his half-sister. The chest, which is in pristine condition, was being prepared for a new exhibition about Tutankhamun that was due to open in Cairo later that year, when experts realized that it had never been opened. They excitedly summoned professional archaeologists and a camera crew for the grand opening of the mysterious chest, but were disappointed when they found out it was empty. The interior of the chest apparently still smells of resin and wood, even after more than 3,000 years, but it doesn't look like anything was ever put inside it. Perhaps the only thing inside it was the curse, in which case we hope the members of that film crew are okay. More than 100 years ago, a significant archaeological discovery took place near Stramberg, Czechia, when workers unearthed a 5,000-year-old disc. Due in no small part to its obvious beauty and value, the artifact ended up in a private collection, remaining largely unstudied until recent times. The disc, known as the Silver Puka, was found at Kotuk near Stramberg, an area once renowned as an archaeological site that was unfortunately lost due to limestone mining. In 1964, the Museum of the Novojikan region acquired the Silver Puka, along with other artifacts discovered in the same location. Weighing about half a pound and measuring 8.5 inches in diameter, the disc is made of silver, which would have been a rare material at the time the artifact was made. The disc was likely used for ceremonial purposes, either worn on the chest or hung on an idol or object. During 2012, it held the distinction of being the oldest man-made silver piece in the region north of the Alps. Today, the disc is housed in the Shipka Museum, adding to the region's rich historical legacy. Many people are obsessed with buying branded goods these days, but branding and marketing appear to go back much further than most people imagine. We know that because it seems that at one point a little over 1,000 years ago, every warrior worth his salt in Europe wanted an Ulfbert sword like this one. They've been found all over the continent, and experts believe they probably started out as a Viking trend, although that can't be proven. As far as we know, they were the first swords ever to be made from casts, with iron melted together with carbon and then poured into a mold. That process did away with the impurities that weakened many of the blades of the era and gave the warriors who owned them an advantage in combat. Nobody else in Europe appears to have been able to replicate the process for at least 200 years, so the question of how the Vikings came up with the idea is unknown. It might have been stolen from an Asian tribe they conquered, but that's really little more than a best guess. There's a lot that we don't know about the Thracians, but there's some information about them that we can be fairly sure of. We know that they lived in and controlled territory in what's now Greece and Turkey. We also know that they reached their peak between the 4th and 5th centuries, and that they were accomplished when it came to making both wine and jewelry. Unfortunately, they were just as gifted when it came to starting wars, which is why they didn't get on with any of their neighbors. As far as we know, though, they never had any contact with the African continent. That leaves us wondering how and why African faces appear on so many priceless pieces of ancient Thracian jewelry and ornamentation, like this beautiful golden wheel. There can be no doubt that the faces, with their thick features and hair, are African. Question is whether the Thracians were inspired to create these pieces after seeing images of Africans in other parts of Europe, or whether they met African people directly and didn't have any other means of documenting their encounters aside from creating these works of art. It's a question that we can't answer. The Archimedes Palimpsest is an extraordinary manuscript that has fascinated scholars and mathematicians alike. It consists of parchment pages that were recycled in medieval times, with the original text by Archimedes erased and overwritten with prayers and religious texts. However, through painstaking efforts, the hidden writings of Archimedes have been revealed using advanced imaging techniques. The Palimpsest set contains remarkable insights into the mind of Archimedes, including his works on geometry, mechanics, and mathematics. It includes treatises such as on the equilibrium of planes, measurement of circle, and on floating bodies, showcasing his profound understanding and pioneering contributions to these fields. The Palimpsest also contains unique diagrams and calculations that provide valuable evidence of Archimedes' methods and problem-solving approaches. Notably, the Palimpsest revealed a previously unknown work called Method of Mechanical Theorems, a significant breakthrough in the history of mathematics. This method demonstrates Archimedes' ingenious approach to solving complex mathematical problems using mechanical means and geometric principles. The Archimedes Palimpsest stands as a testament to the brilliance of Archimedes and the dedication of modern scholars in restoring and deciphering his work. It offers a rare opportunity to delve into the mind of one of history's greatest mathematicians, enriching our understanding of ancient Greek mathematics and inspiring further exploration in the field. In 2018, a team of divers and archaeologists finally recovered treasure from the wreck of a roughfig off the coast of South England. And yet they still don't know exactly what they found. So thick are the rust concretions that encase the treasures that it's impossible to know what's inside them. They're hoping that a brand new high-tech X-ray project that was due to start in late 2020 might help them to shed some light on the matter. The Dutch ship sank close to Kent's coastline in 1740 and was known to be carrying a heavy load of silver coins, thimbles, and jewelry when it went down. When the X-rays finally clear up the matter of what's under the rust, historians hope that it will confirm a pet theory they have about smuggling. Importing British coins to Batavia, the ship's destination in the East Indies, was illegal at the time of the sinking because it was feared that the currency would destabilize the local economy. Despite that, it's thought that British travelers drilled small holes into their coins and then sewed the coins into their clothing to avoid detection. If the holes showed up on the X-rays, the theory will be validated. Still, it's odd that 2 years have passed and we're yet to hear the outcome. The voltaic pile, invented by Italian physicist Alessandro Volta in 1800, was a groundbreaking device that marked a pivotal moment in the history of electricity. It consisted of alternating discs of zinc and copper, separated by pieces of cardboard soaked in electrolyte solution, such as salt water or sulfuric acid. When stacked together, these discs created a series of connected cells, generating an electrical current. This revolutionary design laid the foundation for the development of the first practical battery. The voltaic pile demonstrated the concept of chemical reactions producing electrical energy. It revealed the principles of electrochemical cells and the phenomenon of galvanic electricity. Volta's invention paved the way for significant advancements in various fields, including telegraphy, electrochemistry, and electromagnetism. Without wanting to sound like we're veering into hyperbole, the voltaic pile played a crucial role in shaping the understanding of electricity and sparked further experimentation and innovation in the field. It inspired scientists like Michael Faraday and led to the development of more powerful and efficient batteries, ultimately revolutionizing the way we harness and use electrical energy in our daily lives. Without it, the battery might never have been invented. Bassours are both beautiful and disgusting at the same time. You wouldn't know they're disgusting just by looking at them. They look like beautiful jewelry and were worn as such by Persian and Greek rulers hundreds of years ago. Underneath all the gilding and decoration, though, bassours are made from the indigestible materials that get left behind in the guts of animals when they die. In some cases, bassours were even made from the gut material of dead humans. The ancient Persians believed bezoars to have medicinal benefits and sometimes ground them up and mixed them into drinks. The Greeks saw them more as decorative objects, although that might be because they didn't actually know how they were made. We're not sure what the Scots thought of bezoars, but we know that at least one found its way to Scotland. This is the bezoar of Brodda Castle, which is on the Isle of Arran in the Firth of Clyde. This was once a seat of the Dukes of Hamilton, so the artifact may have found its way here through the castle's regal connections. It's housed in a stunning gold filigree case and comes with a solid gold chain, but it's no less disgusting a concept than any other bezoar. The Congreve clock, invented by English engineer Sir William Congreve in the early 19th century, was a remarkable time-keeping device that impressed the world with its innovative design and mesmerizing movement. It was an ornate, weight-driven clock with a unique mechanism that employed a chain and fusee system. What made the Congreve clock truly remarkable was its ability to showcase a variety of movements and intricate automation. And these movements included rotating celestial globes, miniature ships sailing on water, flying birds, and even dancing figurines. The clock's mechanism relied on the principle of changing tensions on the chain, allowing for controlled and precise movements. The Congreve clock became a symbol of luxury and technological sophistication, adorning the grandest houses and inspiring awe among its viewers. Though it was highly admired for its mechanical ingenuity, the clock also posed challenges due to its complexity and required regular maintenance. Despite its popularity during its time, the Congreve clock eventually fell out of favor as advancements in horology led to more accurate and reliable time-keeping devices. Nonetheless, it remains an important artifact in the history of clockmaking, showcasing the creativity and ingenuity of its inventor, Sir William Congreve. It's been established as a fact that the Vikings reached North America long before Columbus. They set up a small settlement in Canada, but did they travel further down and reach what's now Maine? That's what's suggested by the existence of the Maine penny, which is also sometimes known as the Goddard coin. There's no doubt that the coin is genuine. It's a real Norwegian silver coin and can be dated to the reign of King Olaf Kyrre between 1067, and the question is how it came to be in Brooklyn, Maine, where it was found by amateur archaeologist Guy Melgren in 1957. It was initially misidentified as a 12th century British penny, but the truth was discovered when it was re-examined by experts in London, England in 1978. It's tempting to say that the penny proves that there were Norsemen in Maine all that time ago, but historians say that the site where the coin was found was an important Native American trade network. It's possible that the coin found its way here from an established Viking site like Greenland or Newfoundland through trade, rather than exploration. Frustratingly, we may never know the truth. Boragak Jejeongu, also known as the water clock of Boragak Pavilion, is a fascinating historical timekeeping device from ancient Korea. It was created during the Joseon dynasty in the 15th century by King Sejong the Great and his royal scholars. The clock utilizes the power of flowing water to accurately measure time. Water would flow through a small opening into an upper chamber, causing a float to rise, indicating the hours. As the float reached a certain level, it triggered the release of a metal ball, which would strike a bell to mark the passing of an hour. This ingenious design allowed for precise time-keeping without the need for mechanical gears or weights. The Boragak Jejeongu was not only a functional timekeeping device, but also a symbol of scientific and technological advancements during the Joseon dynasty. It demonstrated the king's commitment to promoting the sciences and improving the lives of his people. Today, the water clock of Boragak Pavilion stands as a testament to the ingenuity and creativity of ancient Korean engineers and remains a treasured relic of Korea's rich cultural heritage. It's just a shame there's so little of it left. When the Spanish conquistadors came to the lands of the Mayan people, they destroyed thousands of documents. Because of that act of vandalism, our understanding of ancient Mesoamerican mythologies is sadly lacking. One of the few surviving records is the Popol Vuh, which is also known as the Popol Vuh and the Popuj. The manuscript recounts the history and myths of the Kich people, who were ethnically Mayan and lived in what's now Guatemala. The Popol Vuh tells the tale of the Quichua people from start to finish, including a detailed recounting of the Mayan creation myth and the exploits of the mythical hero twins Hunahpu and Tbalanq. The name Popol Vuh translates into English as Book of the People. The tale was once passed down orally from one generation to the next, but was recorded in writing for the first time somewhere around 1550. This is the oldest surviving version of the text, and is thought to have been written by the Spanish Dominican friar Francisco Jimenez in 1701. The text is written in 2 columns, one in Quiche and one in Spanish, so it's likely that the friar copied and translated his version from an original that's since been lost. Leonardo da Vinci had one of the greatest minds of any human being who ever lived. He was a polymath, perhaps the most gifted multidisciplinarian in history, and came up with new concepts and new ideas throughout his life. Some of the most striking of them can be found in the Codex Atlanticus. This 12-volume set of manuscripts is full of drawings and writings from a mind of the master and is the largest individual collection of his work. Da Vinci considered all manner of things on the pages of this codex, from musical instruments to flying weaponry. There's even a workable design for a parachute contained within the codex. It's thought that Da Vinci worked on the first of the designs in the codex in 1478 and the last in 1519. Also included are a few basic sketches of ideas he had for paintings, complex mathematics, astronomical observations, meditations on philosophy, and a design for a mechanical hydraulic pump. Some of the designs are outlandish, a giant crossbow for example, but all of them were plausible and in many cases hundreds of years ahead of their time. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, and you will be the first to know when a new video comes out. Thank you for watching and see you soon.